Hello, everybody, and welcome to coverage of the Spring Fling Top 8. We're in the semifinals. I'm Michael Hoyp, but you will not hear very much from me tonight because I am just going to be behind the scenes. We have two players, two members of the community doing commentary instead of me. We have Lanny, Huang, and Jared Doucette. So I'm going to let them take over, and I am just going to be pushing buttons behind the scenes and let them do all the talking.
All right. Well, thanks for the quick little intro there, Mike. Lanny, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I can't believe we have never really shared the stage together.
We haven't.
We're just kind of on our respective, podcasting. He referred to us as players. I prefer to be called an influencer. I think we're just we're pre-modern influencers, and as such, I intend to influence everybody's thoughts on Goblins versus Burn, one of my favorite matchups in pre-modern that Burn is heavily favored in.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good matchup too. I think it's fairly close, honestly. I don't think it's a slam dunk for Burn, but I've played both sides of it quite a bit, and I think there are definitely times where the advantage bar can change depending on the cards, and
I played 4 matches today with Will Hurst.
Of
4 full 3-game matches.
Okay, was it a real Burn deck from Will Hurst or his
No. I played Burn and Will played Goblins, and I shipped the Goblins less to Hurst. As you know, my business partner in crime, Mike Flores, is a huge fan of your work in the Goblin space, so I shipped him the list. But one thing to note about these two players is neither of them is playing a stock Goblins nor a stock Burn list. So we're going to see a lot of interesting stuff happen with none other than all-star Goblins and Burn player Basic Forest. Give it up for Basic Forest.
Basic Forest, yeah, real all-star in this matchup. We got things to say. Why don't we go to the list? And Mike, why don't you bring us over to the first list so we can break it down quick. Okay. All right. First up, we got Eric Hoffman. Oh my God, what is this? It's a goblet.
3, 4, 4, 6. Let's go. Okay, I love Eric Hoffman and his antics. I'm just gonna ask our producer. Eric Hoffman he's just the Birds of Paradise Goblins guy. Is that correct? Yeah, so Eric Hoffman has top 8'd the Derby before with his, I'm just going to say it, it's his signature Birds of Paradise Goblins. But, some might ask you, it's like, hey, Lanny, you're a big fan of Acceleration Goblins. You like playing this card, Ancient Tomb. Well, guess what? This deck has Ancient Tomb too. Turn 2 Ringleader, turn 3 Siege Gang Commander. Like if your Goblin Lackey doesn't get in, don't worry. We still got mana where that came from. This is chock full of acceleration. 4 Birds of Paradise. What did we cut? We kind of trimmed a Gempalm. Of course, we don't need Skirk Prospector, right? Because we've got all the mana in our birds. And crucially though, for the Burn matchup, we've trimmed 1 copy of Mogg Fanatic. What is your take on Birds of Paradise Goblins?
I hate this so much. It drives me nuts. I just don't understand. I want every single non-land card basically to be a goblin whenever possible when I play goblins because they work better together. It doesn't make any sense to me. You get worse mana. I think I just hate it. I know the 3 drops are better than the 2 drops, and that with Ancient Tomb, it's a way to accelerate you to the
4 copies of Siege Gang Commander. Can't say no to that, right?
I mean, I do like that. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's possible without it. Right now I'm seeing what you got. Only 6, 8, 14, only 15. Am I counting that right? 15 red sources? No.
Live on the Edge. That's a City of Brass.
Oh my God, that's not enough. It's just
you know what else is a red source? Birds of Paradise.
Hello,
like if you're flooded on green, you just play them birds.
Oh my God, it's just like Basic Forest does not cast turn 1 Goblin Lackey. It does not cast turn Mogg Fanatics. It does not cast the double red for Warchief and its friends.
Well, Jared, I hate to do this to you, but one of these players is out on the field. He's in the top 4. He made it all the way. Some might have been doubters 2 times in a row. You cannot deny that Eric Hoffman is cooking here. Not too much to talk about the sideboard. Goblins doesn't typically bring too much to sideboard games against Burn. In fact, I was talking about this to myself earlier. Is there any technology that Goblins likes to have for the Burn matchup besides Pyrokinesis?
I mean, that is obviously the big one. I think Gempalm's pretty solid. It's not the best. I mean, obviously they can be removed, but it's still, pretty efficient spell, all told. But I think, yeah, Pyrokinesis is the best one, and I like to play up to 4 Pyrokinesis in my
Yeah.
my sideboard for just because you refill with Ringleader. You know what I mean? And
yeah. What happens if you draw 2 Pyrokinesis because you boarded so many in? What happens? What do you do then?
You get to use them or use one of them. I think it's pretty solid. I really like it. And it doesn't cast Pyrokinesis? Birds of Paradise.
Ooh,
there we
shots
go.
fired. Good point.
Anyway,
good point.
but again, yes, Eric and I have talked about this before, and he knows how I feel. But I'm looking forward to this. I think overall, I love the little green men, and plenty of siege game commanders and lackeys are hopefully in our future. So,
all right, let's check out this burn list. All right. Oh my God. I did not know that we were going to be staring into this beautiful, almost completely foiled out burn list. Now, unfortunately, for the burn pilot, Nathan Shu, we decided to go for a very cheeky green splash in the sideboard, which means that we have neither Lava Dart, neither Pyroclasm, neither Earthquake, no technology. We're straight up just going to be submitting the same deck we submitted in game 1 in games 3, 4, potentially 5. So yeah. I don't have too much to say about splashing green because it's just not going to come up in this match. But how do we feel about old border foils?
I think this deck actually looks very sharp. I like a lot of this main deck. I am a bauble person currently, and basically we're trading baubles for Sealifiers here for the most part. But I like pretty much all the other stuff.
There's 0 barbarian ring.
I was just about to say that is a big issue, is that there's 0 barbarian ring. I think it's a pretty free spell, almost a free spell. You are the beatdown almost every single game, and having a colorless source of damage can come up quite often against the protection from red creatures, and not to mention, and another way to kill a meddling mage or something. I don't know, but and just the last point, it's the damage. That you get some value out of your lands other than just being thrown to Grim Lavamancer, but yeah, this is still a pretty sharp.
I don't know. Are they hard to find in foil? I can't think of a single explanation.
Isn't it Odyssey or something? They have to be kicking around, and they're not a rare. So
yeah, I mean, if you got the ball, I mean, what's the hardest foil to get in this deck? Is it the ball lightnings? Because those are just like a promo ball lightning.
I bet you he's not playing the baubles because those don't exist in foil unless you're Aaron Dix and get them specially made for you.
Good point. We don't have the special foil bolts. I didn't point this out, I guess, when we were talking about goblins. Ancient Tomb Goblins does not want to draw very much Ancient Tomb against burn.
It's only 2. I think 2 is a pretty solid number.
Yeah, and you can just board them out for those pyrokinesis. I love a little bit of sulfuric vortex action. I also wanted to point out that Seal of Fire. We've got the full boat of Seal of Fire and Shock in this matchup, but I love Seal of Fire against Goblins specifically. A lot of talk is made about, I've got a Mogg Fanatic in play. That means I'm never going to get hit by ball lightning. If I have a Seal of Fire in play, I'm never going to get hit by a surprise Ringleader, or more importantly, a surprise combo Goblin Warchief Piledriver turn when I've tapped out for my ball lightning. So I love Seal of Fire here. Lets you continue to play on curve, lets you invest your mana early. And one thing that I noted in my testing against Will is that Burn is an extremely consistent deck, and it's even more consistent in the Goblins matchup when you play so many 1-drops. We are going to see Nathan curve out very, very consistently into a 1-drop, double 1-drop. And if he's going to win this match, it's going to be on the back of the tempo advantage of having very, very efficient spells against a Goblins deck. Now, granted, Birds of Paradise is trying to solve this kind of curve thing where it's we're going to try to if we don't have a turn 1 good play, we're going to play a birds and maybe that'll smooth things out, but then our birds might die, and then maybe we might have a triple forest draw, and then we won't have enough red mana to empty our hands. So it's going to be really interesting to see this sort of dynamic of who has tempo advantage, because Goblins, of course, is always going to have card advantage thanks to the Goblin Matron, Goblin Ringleader engine.
Yeah. As I'm talking with Aaron Dix and talking with other people and playing it myself, the key when you're playing the red deck, you can play a little bit of the control against Goblins, but as soon as they cast that Ringleader for value, you're done. It's all going face. You can't control the board anymore, pretty much. So I think that'll be interesting to see if that situation comes up and then turns the corner. But I'm looking forward to this. So we'll see how it goes. I think we're ready for the match.
Yeah, let's fire it off.
Let's do it.
Pleasure again to be sharing the booth with you, Jared, and I can't wait for some action. Note that Eric on Goblins is going to be on the play. How important do you think on the play advantages is going to be in this match?
I mean, typically pretty important, especially against the red deck. You don't want to fall behind if you don't have, if you can avoid it. You know, how much advantage is he going to get? But if he plays turn 1 birds, that would probably just die. I'm just guessing. Oh my God, here we go. Are we getting a forest?
All right. Let's listen. If the bird
it's
dies,
a mountain. It's a mountain. We're okay. We're okay, guys. It's a mountain.
If the birds, well, the second land might be a forest. But if the birds died, you know, it only cost you 1 mana, and burn is going to cast 1 mana. But very curious. I already don't like this spot. We're floating a mana. We're not using a mana. What kind of hand is this that we had that had no turn 1 play from Goblins? And the response is, it can't get better than this. This Jackal Pup.
Ready to go?
This Jackal Pup's going to do 8 damage. Because we've already don't have Mogg Fanatic. This Jackal Pup's just getting in for 8. That's just like facts of life.
Totally agree. Yeah, this is going to rumble for quite a few.
Yeah, and thanks to the fact that we have an 8-pack between Shock and Seal of Fire, this Goblin Piledriver is going to be handled in a very efficient manner. This is already what makes me just love burn in the spot where we're on the draw, but look at Goblins. Like Goblins can't just like mulligan a hand that doesn't have a 1-drop, but it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You didn't have this 1-drop, and just if we see a Grim Lavamancer, Mogg Fanatic, Jackal Pup follow up, even if we see a Seal of Fire, you're just going to see how much more efficient the burn deck is. Now, if we're holding back a Lightning Bolt, things are a little bit different.
Yeah, no, I think I like the bird spot from here. Definitely, the tempo is way in there in the red deck's favor.
Yeah,
or I should say.
Yeah, we've exchanged 1 mana for 2. We've exchanged 1 card for 1. Goblins is on the play, but lost all of its on the play advantage due to the fact that it didn't spend its mana on turn 1.
Right.
But we're going to catch up a little bit, and thankfully, this Mogg Fanatic is going to help make the board slightly more on even terms. My expectation is that we're just going to throw another piece of shock at this Piledriver, and this Goblin Fanatic is going to do a little bit of a chump block while also managing one of the threats. So a good bounce back for Goblins to double spell on turn 3.
Yeah, I mean, if he follows this up with a Ringleader, then I think he might be in an okay spot. But of his 3 cards left, if it's land Ringleader, then I feel pretty good to reload, because his life total is pretty comfortable at 17. But always got to worry about the big burst at some point.
Yeah, Pyroblast just waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
Ball Lightning here, a very real threat. And in fact, it is pretty card disadvantageous to go for the Mogg Fanatic activation and then force through a Ball Lightning, because it would trade 2 for 1.
All right, so we're getting we're getting an attack with Pup here. What are we just shooting it down with Fanatic, or what are we thinking as far as the block goes?
So I do find this to be a pretty interesting attack, because but I actually kind of love it for the sole reason that Nathan is effectively daring Eric to let him convert a pup for a Piledriver,
right?
Which to me, I think that Mogg Fanatic on the battlefield is more valuable than a Goblin Piledriver, but it's possible. Yeah, it is possible, given the contents of Nathan's hand, that he doesn't have he was missing a square way to deal a clean 2 damage to this Piledriver, so he'd rather convert the pup for the Piledriver. And he also notably missed his 3rd land drop. He's actually a little bit. It's one thing about this sort of bobbleless, sort of rinky-dinky burn, is that he actually doesn't have a lot of gasoline. Goblins here is at 17 life. It's getting the card advantage train on with Goblin Matron, and has transitioned into this kind of 4-land, notably painless land game, and has played its first piece of card advantage while having a relatively protected life total. So just like that, we loved how burn started, but things are starting to look a little bit different.
I was gonna say I'm looking to get Ringleader here, unless I think I have the 5th land and could just play Siege Game Commander and just totally take over the board. But I think it depends if he's what his hand is right now. But I think either option is still pretty good. Depends what that last card is.
Yeah, I think right now from Burn's position, if he was sandbagging a damage spell, it would have been a much more favorable position for him to. Is he explaining what Goblin Ringleader does? He's like flashes the 4, and he's just like, have you seen this card before? And so we missed our 3rd land drop from the burn side, and we floated 1 mana. Okay, so I want to expand on what I was saying earlier. I want this Mogg Fanatic off the battlefield because I want the opportunity to be able to cast, especially in game 1 with no threat of pyrokinesis. I want the opportunity to cast a ball lightning here.
Yes.
So we're not seeing it. We're not seeing a third land. And again, between Seal of Fire, trading with the creature, great tempo trade, but not being able to follow it up with more aggression, and just these rinky-dink Mogg Fanatics, which are just going to trade straight up with Goblin's board, Ringleader coming, 4 cards behind, that translates to an average of 12 damage. So that's going to leave the Goblin with a healthy 5 life total, and with only 2 lands in play, you might not even be able to convert. So
yeah, I think you just set both blocks and say, what are you going to do? Just trades. Okay. Yeah. Don't want to do. Yeah.
This is very important board state to understand, because whenever somebody attacks you into your 1 toughness creature with Mogg Fanatic, you block, because if they wanted to trade the Mogg Fanatic for the thing, that they would, and if they wanted to not, then they simply wouldn't attack.
Right.
So they're just daring you to get to let them get in for 2 damage. Eric doesn't take the bait. He makes a clean trade.
1. See, birds, not a goblin. Not a goblin.
It's Ringleader. And look, Jared. Look, I understand. You're the undisputed king of Goblin Ringleader triggers, but this trigger is not that bad. We're Ringleader into Ringleader.
It's very good.
We're getting in for 2 damage, and this, honestly, like you said, I don't love this Incinerate here, but Burn is just out of gas.
Go to the top.
Yeah.
Nope.
But there's no chance. There's no chance, because Burn would have to be all bolts, runner, Pyroblast, all bolts, in order to convert for enough damage before Goblins puts them in the ground. Because we got another Ringleader coming. We've got Piledriver coming. If the next turn is Warchief Piledriver. But okay, that explains the Incinerate. That helps it. That's what we were looking to play with our third land, not a ball lightning Sulfuric Vortex. This Vortex, given the state of the game, has the potential to deal more than 6 damage, has the potential to deal 8, even 10 damage. And Goblins actually drawing plenty of lands is great here, because Goblins is going to spend all of its mana. But we are only on 2 painless red sources. Already this is just Magic this is just pre-modern Magic at its finest, right? So loving what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, this looks like he's gonna be playing the Ringleader again, obviously, and probably trying to follow it up with, depends what he hits. Forest, land, Siege Gang. There we go. Warchief. Warchief and Piledriver, good buddies. So if he's got another Goblin, probably play the non-Piledriver this turn if you can cast it for 2 mana or less. Because those are even better when they're hasting.
Yeah, absolutely agree. But also, on the other hand, this Warchief is going to demand an answer, and you simply cannot answer Siege Gang Commander clean with the Burn main deck, and in this case, the Burn sideboard with the lack of sweepers. So no amount of goodness is going to save the Burn deck. But a Birds of Paradise here does lead me to ask some questions. We're floating a red mana in order to gain a red mana on the next turn. So this could be life total management. I want more painless red sources, because I don't want to take a point to cast my Warchief into whatever. And of course, if my Birds gets burnt, I'm ecstatic. But yeah, Goblins going down to 13. It's a virtual 11 with another turn cycle, is only going to be able to put Burn in check, not checkmate. So can we see 11 damage from 4 cards from the Burn deck is the question on everybody's mind.
Possible. It's possible for sure. But right now, this is going to be probably a pretty big swing, because he's probably going to feel he has to play a little control to deal with this Warchief to save his own life total, probably, because that's going to be that Warchief's coming down. Then you got the Piledriver, or even the Siege Gang Commander. There we go. That'll add some friends to the board.
Yeah, I think that there's no point at 15 life with this much pressure. Everything's, like you said, everything's going face. I'm not dying this turn, so you're dying next turn. Although it is very important to note with the Siege Gang Commander, there is 3 activations available, 3 painless activation available on the next upkeep. So this is a real damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. You can't kill the Goblin. 9. Yeah. So you need to be able to get there
before their upkeep.
Yeah. You need to be able to get there with just 12 damage from 4 cards and 3 mana. We're talking
5 cards because you get a draw step.
Oh yeah, that's correct. So
Oh no, I'm sorry, he only has 3. So the 4th card is the
yeah.
draw
Is
step.
there? Yeah. The 4th card is the draw step.
Honestly, I looked at that die thinking it was a card. I was like, I guess it's like right in his spot. But
so we're talking bolt, fire blast territory. Double fire blast doesn't do it because it means one of the cards would have to be a mountain, or double fire blast. Yeah, double fire blast is not going to do it. Maybe we can throw a rinky dink shock at the siege gang and sort of concoct a line, but
well, if you're gonna take out anything right now, wouldn't you just take out the Warchief?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think one line is literal mountain, and actually we can probably see the thought process going through Eric's head is like, can he beat mountain double fire blast ball lightning? Mountain double fire blast ball lightning gets there unless 3 damage is prevented by goblins. So he's thinking, do I need to hold back 3 goblins to prevent exactly that triple perfect hand? Otherwise, burn is drawing dead.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so down to 7. Okay, and he'll be down to 5 in his upkeep.
Yep, and then the siege gang can do it with the sulfuric vortex trigger on the stack. I am excited because let me tell you what Burn does not have. Burn does not have mountain ball lightning double fire blast. It just doesn't. Like,
no, it's not
like,
gonna.
We're gonna try some damage control. We have to kill siege gang. We have to kill Warchief.
Oh wow, he's going to his draw. Okay, this is over. He didn't even throw anything at the end of the turn.
Oh, good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Well,
this is all
if it is
unless it is
unless it is maybe it's a good omen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like it's actually couldn't get better than that.
Triple fire blast. That doesn't do you any good. All right. Yeah, we're going to the next game. Okay.
No, pick up my sulfuric vortex is not was not on my bingo card.
No, not at all. Okay, we're going to the next one.
Yeah, super unfortunate. I think this was absolutely the script when we talk about the Goblins' favorite camp. When we talk about that, this is kind of exactly what was going on. I was very, very concerned about the complete lack of 1-drop from Goblins. But Burn and also just Burn was being relatively efficient throughout the first 3 turns. But once that the pivotal turn kind of felt like that turn where there was no burn spell on the Piledriver. The Piledriver just did a clean trade. Piledriver Mogg Fanatic. Honestly, it feels like it kind of was a top deck moment because obviously Goblins didn't have, unless Eric has some sort of like 4D chess going on where he's like, oh, I don't play my Mogg Fanatics on turn 1. I play my Mogg Fanatics like after to like, bob and weave, which I've never even contemplated because if I got Mogg Fanatic in my hand, I'm casting it. I don't know about
I want that. I want that thing on the board. It does more on the board than it does in your hand. That's for sure. That was really interesting how much that advantage bar changed in those 3 turns. That was really fascinating.
Yeah, we were stoked on Burn spot. In fact, if you asked me, how much equity I would give the Burn player, I would have said they were probably like over 70% to win from the position that we saw on the board going into turn 3, and just like that, Goblins turned it around. So, really impressive stuff, and honestly, one of the important things to note is that this felt kind of like a textbook game. Nothing out of the ordinary happened for either player. Neither player was mana screwed, mana flooded. Neither player drew like a weird combination of spells in their deck. That actually felt like a very templated game. So you can kind of understand when you watch a game like that, like, oh, Goblin seems just like super good. Just like Burn, nothing weird happened to Burn. It's not like they didn't draw Fire Blast or they didn't draw, a lot of lightning bolts or like whatever. Maybe it's like one lightning bolt wouldn't have changed it, right? Like one Urza's Bauble, even a connect with a ball lightning, might not have really made a difference in that match because Goblins won with 15 or 13 effective life and Burn lost with 0 life. So
yeah, they're far behind. I think we got a nice little Carousel hat from Mr. Hoffman. That's nice. I think missing the 3rd land drop for a turn or 2 was probably a rough one. Because maybe if he got that sulfuric vortex down, he could have played a little more control. But again, 3 Fire Blast is a little unfortunate, but just because those are only good at the very, very end of the game. but small things, you know. And
yeah, I'm sorry, I completely missed that. Did he reveal that he had 3 Fire Blasts?
3 Fire Blasts.
Okay. So never mind. What earlier when I said something out of the ordinary didn't happen.
Mhm.
We were actually weirdly live. Things go a little bit different, and maybe it's a double Fire Blast game, and the game is closed up. So I guess technically you can chalk that up for the close one column. Quick reminder to the viewers: we're playing a best of 5. So Eric had the play in game 1, and then after that, the play is just decided by winner. So Nathan is going to be on the play in game 2, and looks like we're going to resolve our mulligans.
Yeah, it's always better when everyone can, both people keep a fresh 7.
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to point out. I feel like Goblins is slightly more likely to mulligan, slightly more likely to have awkward hands, but yeah, fresh 7 and Grim Lavamancer. I made an observation that if Burn ever has a Grim Lavamancer that is not summoning sick, it wins the game. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean it definitely is a big help. You know, if it takes out at least one thing, you know, that's already, because they're gonna have to burn it, and that's a 2-for-1 right there, right? So I think it's one of the best cards in the matchup. It's one of my favorite cards. It's one of, like, it's basically the closest thing we get to a planeswalker.
And it looks so sweet in foil. If you like 4 mana, 2/2 haste, draw X amount of cards, you're gonna love 1 mana draw card basically every turn.
Yeah, here we go. All right. Well, I don't think this Goblin Lackey is going to live very long. You know,
what gives you the impression?
I don't know. Just got a feeling.
So you feel like Nathan might want to just play around and see what happens if
just
he gets
a guess. I don't know.
Have you ever been hit by a Goblin Lackey, Jared?
Yeah,
because I have. Let me tell you,
I've hit a lot more people with Goblin Lackeys than I've been hit myself. And every once in a while, I have to feel that feeling to remember what it feels like, because it's oh man, this is awful. I was like, now I understand how most of my opponents feel when that Lackey connects. It's just like, oh boy, yeah, that is a scary feeling.
Yep. And we have just the clean double fetch land. This is the turn I want to see for Burn. I want to see kill the Lackey or just hold up the Lavamancer. Okay, actually, important thing to note, because now what would you do? Would you use the Lavamancer to preserve the Mogg Fanatic on the battlefield, or would you do the clean 1 damage conversion for 1 toughness conversion? It's a very important question, because going into turn 2, if you do use the Lavamancer, you're not going to get a clean Lavamancer hit if the turn 2 play is a Goblin Piledriver. But it looks like,
I think we just answered the question. I'm sure gonna hit that attack for 1, I would guess. You know, shoot that down and
boom,
get in. Yeah, that is definitely efficient. Having the double fanatic, you know, it's really good.
Attack! Attack!
No, jeez, Nathan. These little points. Okay, if he leaves his opponent 1 life, this is how we know why. And
Nathan, no! Walter White, no!
Yeah.
Just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's every aggro player knows that feeling of just that 1 damage short, and I hope it doesn't happen to him, but that is what's possible.
1 damage. Mogg Fanatic gets to trade with the card and still get it gets to trade. It gets to go even harder because the Mogg Fanatic gets to attack next turn. You can't block it with the Birds of Paradise. The Birds of Paradise is still gonna die. Jared, I do have to say, I don't hate Birds of Paradise as a card. In fact, I think it's one of the most underplayed cards in pre-modern. But 0 power, 1 toughness,
not great in your red aggro deck.
Yeah. Especially if that's your only play for turn 2. Don't touch that Mogg. Don't you dare. Nathan?
Don't.
Nathan?
Don't.
Yep. Just, I don't know what that dice means, but it doesn't mean
I think it's the cards. The cards in hand. Okay.
It's the you have 5, because he's a gentleman. He just puts some face down. He's got his fisheye lens.
Yeah.
Puts some face down on the battlefield. All right. So we missed a point. We're not going to miss this point. In fact, Ball Lightning here goes. Oh my God. Okay. Love the sequence. Boom. Ball Lightning. Gempalm Incinerator turning Ball Lightning. Forced to sacrifice the Mogg. That didn't happen.
You're running it in your brain. And you have no idea what's in everybody's hands.
Yeah, there's like, you just have. Okay. That's too many fanatics. That's too many, because now the problem is these fanatics, they don't have too many exciting targets. I am obviously killing the birds on site, but that extra fanatic, that I guess it's like good to kind of have the 1 damage kicker on all your burn spells by getting that free attack through. But the problem is, if Eric has his own fanatics, then there's no clean removal.
Okay. Well, now I'm definitely with you with saving the Lava Man activations for the X2s, because you're hitting X2 territory now as Eric turns into his turn 3.
Yeah.
So obviously Warchief is not going to look great right now. It's just going to be zapped down. You obviously you want to Matron more right now, just because it'll make his Nathan's plays a little less efficient.
Yeah, and I love a Matron here, because guess what I'm going to do to that Matron? I'm going to use the Lava Man activation. It's not going to feel good,
Right.
but I'm going to convert for that damage with my Mogg Fanatic attack. And unless I feel like 18 is a nice round number for my 2 cards in hand, like I need to make sure that I have scaling damage, which is creature attacks, and not finite damage, which is Grim Lavamancer activations and burn spells.
Yep.
So let's see if it's Matron or Warchief. We're hoping for Matron if you're a big fan of the Goblins.
There we go.
There it is. So
again,
this has the potential to take it back. But yeah, 2 cards behind for the Goblins player. Who knows? You know what I would get? I'm just getting Mogg Fanatic. I'm dealing with this Lavamancer. It's been on the battlefield for like already too long.
And it hasn't really done anything, which is kind of amazing.
Well, it should have gotten in from
it should have, right.
But let's just say it hasn't done anything in this particular.
Wait, does Eric still have 5 cards in his hand? It looks like so. Okay, I guess
that is what the dice is telling me.
Yeah.
But this, it's a fat 5 cards. So, but let me tell you, unless we've got and he doesn't tag the Matron with his end step Grim Lavamancer activation. So, so he might already be starting to figure out how he can count up to 16 with his hand and this Mogg Fanatic, because of course Matron's just going to be a clean trade for the Mogg Fanatic unless we see some other activities happening.
Right.
This one looks like a ball lightning to me.
It feels like it, yeah.
Okay.
Roll with your homies.
Okay.
But now the Lava Man hasn't attacked or used its ability.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
That's fine. He's just faces the place. It's counting to 10 is going to be really easy after that. Ball lightning, especially when you're at a healthy 17 yourself. So that does explain the aggression here. Every damage is going to count. And then once again, I'm going to be kicking myself if I don't have a Mogg Fanatic, because the only thing that I'm thinking about right now is damage control. Like I can't do 17. Like I need to gain life. I can't race.
Yeah, you definitely can't do 17 if like your Warchief's going to get just sniped by a Lavamancer next turn or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great turn for Warchief Piledriver. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it is definitely. That would put a good clock on, especially because he left out the.
Yeah.
I think he's too far behind. He might be too far behind now.
Ringleader's too slow. It's not even going to attack. It can't attack. I mean, I guess it can attack, and then the Matron stays behind, but.
No, I think I'm with you. I don't think it would attack.
Well, you just don't have a choice, right? Because blocking only means that you're going to block a ball lightning, but ball lightning is going to murder you anyway. So
that's true.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Advantage bar very heavily, very, very heavily in Burn's favor.
Yeah. Interesting that both players have the same exact art, just from different sets. It looks like Eric has the mountain art. This is definitely for Mirage, and then
there must be like Dominaria remastered or one of the
or is it 7th edition foil, because it was that art was reprinted as one of the 7th edition arts. I think.
Good catch. I mean, Jared, you truly are the master of Basic Mountain. You know your way around a Basic Mountain.
I definitely got it. Okay.
Oh, end step just face. Okay. GG.
I mean, I would say he's trying to get the threshold, but
yes, you're dead.
He doesn't even have the,
the barbarian ring in his
doesn't have the barbarian ring. Like that didn't have to happen there. You know what I mean? He could have waited longer. Like that's going to happen no matter what.
Ooh, Michael J. Hoyp with the correction. It wasn't in 7th edition. It was in 8th edition.
Oh.
Jared, I retract my statement. You don't know shit about Basic Mountain.
Apparently not. Okay. I know that's a John Avon art. I'm pretty sure of that. If I'm wrong on that one, then I guess I just have to give it my bona fides.
I don't know what we're waiting for, because if I Mogg Fanatics my Goblin's opponent on the end step with them on 8 life and me with 2 cards and a Grim Lavamancer in hand, I would probably, I don't know, cast my bolts, cast my Incinerator. Like, not sure what we're thinking about here. Maybe he realized he did the math incorrectly.
I don't know.
If it was a ball lightning, do you not think that it would be on the battlefield?
I mean, yeah. As I like to say, ball lightning comes into play attacking. It just it doesn't. It is never not sideways. It just gets in.
Okay, it's fine. Spring Fling, lots of glory on the line. Yeah. You know, it's totally fine for our players to absolutely be sure that they have deterministic lethal. We didn't play a mountain. We didn't play Curse Scroll. I don't know. It's very, very hard to imagine that between 3 cards, Burn doesn't have, 6 damage. And even so, like, Burn's going to get another draw step and might even have another draw step.
He really just needs 4 damage in those 3 cards, because he's going to be 4 damage and 4 mana roughly in those 3 cards, or 4 cards, because he's going to get a draw step too. Yeah, because the Lavaman can activate twice. Yeah.
Good observation. Okay, I mean, this isn't lethal, so I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that'd be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah.
Sure. Good work.
Have fun.
Do you have Pyroblast? Wait, hold up, Jared. What if, just forget Naturalize, forget Birds of Paradise, let's just play Pyroblast.
Could just play Pyroblast. You could, if you had more mountains, but he only has 6 mountains and 4 fetches.
Good point.
That's not enough.
You got me on that one. We play a minimum of 12 ways to get islands in Gush decks. I have to imagine we need at least 12 for Pyroblast decks.
Yeah, at least. I would say, especially if you're going to play 4. But in the blue Gush decks, you get to draw more cards, right? So I think the number has to be even higher.
Yeah, good observation. Anyways, I'm really curious what happens here besides taking 12. Maybe power is being misrepresented. Maybe we're bad at math, but I believe that we are just taking 12. There's a lot of dice on the battlefield.
Yeah.
They're all, I just don't, okay, like, it's like, why would I care how many cards my opponent has in hand? Like, just like, I'm the Burn player. Yeah, they're on the playmat. He cast Goblin Ringleader. He's
tapped out. We know there's nothing else coming. There's no gut shot or anything like that. So, I again, unless somehow Nathan just has 3 mountains in his hand and hasn't played another one, I have to imagine this is going to be over.
I would just turn the cards in my hand face up. Like, don't be coy. Don't slow roll. You're on camera, fellas. Like, let's just move on to game 3. Burn, no sideboarding. Actually, quite interesting. Goblins, cut a couple Ancient Tombs, add a couple Pyrokinesis.
Yep. Okay. Do you have 2 more damage?
Yeah. Even this Mopey Shock, despite being, oh my God, is it all shocks? Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Can we pick up our cards, gents?
Yeah,
he's checking. Why did he look? He checked his whole card. He's like, "Yep, I still have a flush." Oh wait. Like, the board is a flush.
Suited. Okay, I still got all these. All right, good one. Right.
Don't slow roll, guys. Don't slow roll. If you are, if you are so lucky as to be able to battle through the gauntlet of Birds of Paradise Goblins, and make it into the top 8 of the Spring Fling, of the Fall Brawl, in which case you get a battle in the Coliseum of Michael J. Hoyp. Oh my God, what do we have here?
The heat is off. Eric just busts out a copy of the Duelist that says the heat is on. I'm sure, straight from the start. I hope this is like a breakdown of how to beat red decks from like 1997 or something.
What's the creature depicted here?
I don't know.
Do you know, gargoyle of sorts?
Maybe, no, it could be
doesn't.
Like a different art of the Wrathy Dragon.
Another approach over here. The goal of a good red deck. Did anybody catch that? The goal of a good red deck is to deal something like deal damage.
That hasn't changed. That hasn't changed in 30 years.
Yeah, for what it's worth, like.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to. Our producer just whispered in our ear. He's like, do you guys want to look at the burn deck list? And I was like, no, there's
no
nothing,
change.
no changes, no changes.
There's no reason to bring in Naturalize. There's no. By the way, is that a Tranquility or a Tranquil Domain?
It's a Tranquility. It is straight up a Tranquility. 2 and a G sorcery, destroy all enchantments.
Sure.
Tranquil Domain. Astute viewers would note. Says destroy all global enchantments. So apparently, a certain Eric Hoffman was not Eric Hoffman, sorry, a certain Nathan Shue was so disappointed in all the little wild growths and armadillo cloaks and Alexi's cloak.
Yeah.
Can you name another aura? Treachery,
control magic
sticking around. That he was just like, no. Tranquil Domain, instant speed, 1 in a G, no. Tranquility. The Bogles player at his local game shop, just bullying him all the time with his freaking armadillo cloaks. I mean, he's just sitting there. It's just like, man, I wish I had something for this armadillo cloak. I've only got 4 Naturalize. You know what I really need? Tranquil Domain. No, that's just not good enough against armadillo cloak.
And only 5 green sources.
I didn't want to say it. I mean, it's like kind of a side in the Swiss of the Fall Brawl. Nobody sees it coming, right? Nobody sees it coming.
Yeah.
Would I rather play Anarchy? Because by the time I get to 4 mana, I probably would have found I'll find 4 mana before I find Wooded Foothills in the same game. Yes,
I think so.
But does Anarchy destroy control magic?
Does not
on my Jackal Pup.
No, that's going to be a brutal. They spent 4 minutes to deal with your one mana creature that just basically turns your bolts into searing blazes for free.
All right.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Dominate is an instant, yeah. Oh, but it's not an aura, because I was going to say dominate your ball lightning, stifle the ball lightning trigger, but that doesn't work because Tranquility doesn't interact with that. Yes, I have no words for Tranquility. The only simple explanation is that I don't have a foil Tranquil Domain.
Okay, so we're looking at the Goblins list now. We're bringing in Pyrokinesis, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, just board out the Ancient Tombs.
Yeah, board out the Ancient Tombs. Go down to what is that then? What?
22 lands. 22 lands and 4 birds. It's fine. Okay. Well, I'm not tapping Ancient Tomb.
That's for sure.
Have you ever tapped an Ancient Tomb, Jared?
Yes,
I've tapped
great
Ancient
sometimes.
Tomb. Sometimes I tap an Ancient Tomb, I untap it with Frantic Search. I tap it again.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And guess what happens after I do that?
The opponent's usually dead.
Yeah, well, no, I lose to burn is what happens. The opponent normally goes bolt, fire blast, nice Ancient Tomb.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the free spells. But so leaving in 2 Naturalize, I guess Curse Scroll and Sulfuric Vortex are still a concern. That's still a pretty good card against.
I mean, 2 Naturalize are going to find targets. I mean, I'm down to board one out for a Gempalm Incinerator. Yeah. That's totally fine with me. I don't know. Like, I'll actually make this rant. Naturalize is a second order sideboard card, right? Mm-hmm. The main plan of burn is not to play artifacts enchantments. So when you're playing Naturalize, you risk the possibility of drawing it without burn drawing a legal target, dead card in hand, possibly lost tempo, right? Because that Naturalize could have been like the 2-drop that helps you curve out, like even something atrocious like a random Goblin Tinkerer, which actually deals with the same half of threats that the Naturalize deals with. Can't matter because the Goblin Tinkerer can trade with the Jackal Pup and a Naturalize cannot. So when you bring in second order sideboard cards in your decks, ladies and gentlemen, you want to be sure that the second order, if it's like Oath of Druids, if it's like Engineered Plague, well, yeah, I want to stop those cards if I'm Goblins. But if it's just a Curse Scroll and a Sulfuric Vortex, just like the risk involved with drawing those cards without a legal target is much higher than the reward of sometimes picking off a Sulfuric Vortex or a Curse Scroll, because some of those cards might have just dealt you damage before you got the chance to remove them too.
It's all true. It's all true. I just want to point out Mike Arnold. Yes, I know Pyroblast has a alternate casting cost of 4 RR, but it's very rare. But I was watching some of the NYSC vintage this weekend. I didn't know that Force of Will had an alternate cost of 3 blue. I hadn't seen that in a while. But anyway.
Granted, vintage, vintage is like one of those funny formats where the game either ends on turn 3 or turn 20.
That is true.
You see a lot of hard cast Force of Will, and the reason why you see a lot of hard cast Force of Will is because you see a lot of hard cast Lori and Revealed.
Yeah.
Also 3 generic and 2 blue.
Yeah, that card's insane. It just like fits perfectly in. Eternal Magic with 4.
I'll take some Lorien Revealed and Premodern TBH.
Yeah,
Give it to me.
Yeah, I'll even take the Troll of Khazad-dûm. I'll be able to play Reanimator probably with that thing. That would help. All right, here we go. Oh, looks like aggro deck or bird deck's down to 6 cards on the draw.
Burns
Goblin
on 6.
Lackey.
Like
Here we
start.
go. Well, he's got 12 ways to deal with it, so I assume that Nathan kept one of them.
What would you wager?
Oh no, he has 16. Sorry, he also has Fanatics too.
Yeah. What would you wager? Like, what odds would you give this Lackey on surviving?
Oh, like 3%, if that. I don't know. 16 cards.
Hypergeometric time.
Yeah,
okay, actually, this is going to be a good
that.
one because this is vibes math versus hypergeo, right? So just
This is
I
true.
want you to give me a number because I'm going to check you against the actual number.
I'll say 3. I'm going to stick with 3%.
3%. Number of successes in the population 16. Sample size is 8. Number of successes in the sample 1. Calculate greater than equal to 1. There's a 7% chance to miss.
That's actually higher than I thought.
Yeah, that's a lot higher than I
thought.
thought.
But I'll take.
Are we right about 16? Bolt seal, Mogg Fanatic. So it's 4 by 5. Yeah.
Bolt
Okay.
Seal, Mogg Fanatic. Yeah.
7%. Honestly, I'll take those odds if I'm goblins.
You play it out. You know what I mean?
Don't not play the Lackey.
Okay. Oh, I mean,
okay.
wait, hold on. Lavamancer was 4 more for a block. So,
I don't count a block, right? Because
yeah.
then you get a double parlay because then you can get the thing. Okay, so I want to point out something important here. Burn player on the draw, ahead on battlefield. Again, thanks to being able to go to 3-3. All 2 isn't much more than 1, except for when you talk about scaling multiplicatively. 2 is twice as much as 1. Both players have spent 3 mana.
Hold on, let me
Burn.
check the math. Yes.
Let me know what it says. Hypergeo. Let's go. What is
2
it
is
say?
twice as much as 1. Got it.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
But we've got a Goblin Matron, my favorite way to spend 3 mana. In fact, Goblin Matron is more hype than Warchief would be kind of good on this board because it's a free 2 damage, even though it's going to trade with 1 mana. But I think this Goblin Matron is going to trade with 1 mana one way or another, and also draw a card. So Goblin Matron sincerely better than Goblin Warchief as the 3-drop.
Yeah, Warchief's going to have its time and its place, but it's going to be when it can do the big alpha strike.
Yeah, let's go. Matron for Mogg Fanatic. Jared, have you heard of the card called Flame Tongue Kavu?
Oh, have I? Big fan of that.
So for 4 mana, what do you get? You get 4/2. You get to deal 4 damage to a creature. Let me tell you about Goblin Matron for Mogg Fanatic. You get for the same 4 mana investment. Have I got a deal for you? You get 1 mana, and what do you get left behind? A 1/1. Guess what? It's one of the best plays you can make against Burn. Michael J. Flores characteristically got his mind completely blown by the concept of Goblin Matron for Mogg Fanatic. But as you can see here, there's no better play. I made the observation before. I'll make it again. I think that a not summoning sick Grim Lavamancer spells defeat for goblins. Granted, this one is only going to be able to activate 1 time before suffering at the hands of this Mogg Fanatic. So damage conceivably controlled. Burn. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy how fast these cards go. Like we're down to 2 cards in hand.
Yeah,
and
he was down. He was down a card. He was down.
Oh, the mulligan.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Lavamancer, I think, should definitely be trading for the Matron at this point. Just shoot it down to leave your Fanatic behind.
Ooh, very interesting. So you would elect to block.
No, I would just you could, block and shoot. Why not?
The reason, of course,
is he's got to play the Fanatic, obviously.
Because I'm I'm trying to force.
I mean that like you're going to shoot down the Matron because I'm sure that he's not going to let this. He's not going to let him untap with this Lava Man.
If I was, I mean, obviously the time to do it was in combat, so we're already thinking about the face being the place with our Goblin's opponent at 18 life, and I do think that this is an error. Even sending 2 damage, overkilling a Matron by 1. Oh, we're going to see a Gempalm Incinerator cycle. I don't love the sequencing here is kind of interesting.
Wait, so we are is Lavamancer on the stack, I'm guessing.
Plausibly,
because I haven't seen anyone take 2 damage. I thought Eric was already at 18 because he has 2 fetch lands in his yard. So if Lavamancer's no, but I mean Eric should be at 18, so he's going to go down to 16. Gempalm's going to resolve. Yeah.
All that to keep a Mogg Fanatic on the battlefield. Very interesting. But if I'm the burn player and I have a ball lightning, now the door is open for me to use the Mogg Fanatic. So if I was sequencing it myself, I would have Gempalm incinerated. Oh, what would you have done? Is there no way to prevent a ball lightning attack from happening this turn?
Oh, I think he could have shot the Fanatic and then traded Fanatics essentially.
I think the foil Goblin Fanatic should have first strike. Just saying.
Yeah, definitely. They all should.
Pay to win.
Yeah. That'd be funny. Just like if you get a nicer version of a card, it's just better. Yeah.
Get him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Sucks to be poor.
Yeah.
Get a job, loser.
Yeah.
Get a good one.
My lightning bolt skip for 4 because I got the foil, the super the F&M ones. Yeah, it's like those Garfield altars that are just like super broken.
Yeah, it's signed by Christopher Rush too. Taste it.
There we
that
go.
Deals 5.
That definitely deals 5.
Yeah, I mean that Warchief isn't going to survive, but now that our burn player is really low on cards, I'm going to be pretty happy to trade 3 mana for 1, because unless you're using the other 2 mana every single turn, just doesn't matter. We've moved from tempo game to card advantage game.
And it appears that Eric still has a bunch of cards in hand.
Oh, we did take 1 damage for a City of Brass.
Yeah, for Birds of Paradise. Oh, he only has 2. So if this is, I mean, maybe Eric doesn't have much action. I don't know.
Mountain Curse Scroll could contain this battlefield.
Could, definitely. That would be one of his better draws right now, I'd say. You could get a big chunk out. I mean, definitely, Ball Lightning would be fine now to knock them down to 9. Then you're in business. No.
Ooh, Bolt the Bird. Not sure if that adage rings true on turn 5.
Yeah.
So he's just saying, I can't deal with the Siege Gang Commander. So my only hope
I don't think you can either way.
Stuck on 4. Yeah.
I'd rather bolt the Siege Gang Commander to prevent the tossing of the goblins, if anything. All right, now we're really just going face.
I mean, this is just a slow Siege Gang Commander if you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Pyrokinesis is in. And are you familiar with the concept of blockers?
Yeah. Yes.
We block a Pyrokinesis, so we have one card remaining. I would no longer play in fear of Pyrokinesis as far as mathematics is concerned, unless you feel like there's a strong tell that the face down card is indeed a Pyrokinesis Pyrokinesis because it hasn't been played and because the Goblins player passed the mana up. I think that is at least plausible, but it's probably a Siege Gang Commander, right? Which is what we have to read on.
That'd be my guess.
Yep, and the fourth mana is coming at a very inopportune time for the burn player.
Yeah, could have used that earlier to double spell a little more, especially with the 3-drop if he had one. Okay.
Yeah, Warchief Piledriver. I'll take a damage. I'll go to 13.
Yeah.
Just I'm trading with a card. I'll take a damage. That card was going to deal 2 damage to me anyways, so might as well.
3 cards can't deal 13 damage. So this is what, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, this is almost done. That fetch land's now dead.
Yep. The scaling effect of goblins fully on display here. And even if these were just like generic grizzly bears, burn is too overwhelmed at this point. The fact that one happens to be a grizzly bear that counts the other grizzly bear's friends and has much more powerful grizzly powers, notwithstanding, we're gonna go to 1. We're gonna cast nothing on the end step.
Yeah,
slump down in our chair. Yep,
that card doesn't exist. Okay, we're going to game 4. All right, so we've been back and forth though.
Player on the play. I mean, a mulligan to 6, but did it matter? Did we win by 1 card? 1 to 13, 2 cards in hand. Honestly,
well, Nathan, I think wasted the 3 damage with that bolting the bird, so he was probably should have been at 10.
Virtual 10, and then a potential Fireblast double incinerate.
Yeah, there was more outs there. And I think
let's blame the mulligan. I'm down to blame the mulligan.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is that you blame the mulligan because I blame it too.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because if I don't blame the mulligan, then it would prove my thesis wrong, which is that burn is ahead.
I think I I mean, I always want a 5-game series. I love watching five-game matches, of Magic. I think it's really it's really back and forth. You get a good kind of sense of the match, of more of the variables. There's less, kind of variance that can really determine it. If you get variance out 3 times, that's pretty rough. Where it could definitely happen twice in a match for a quick 0-2. But I think we're gonna hopefully get a nice 5th game just to kind of keep the good times rolling.
Yeah, we've played a 5-game set.
Yeah, we have. This is true. We have. Where someone forgot to board in their win con and still on the way to win.
How do you what you might have heard recently that I've got some choice words for the card Lava Dart. Do you feel like a missing Lava Dart is hurting Nathan here?
Not particularly. I think he's basically replaced the Lava Dart with Seal of Fire for the most part. That's still pretty efficient. I guess there's no 2-for-1 or anything at the end, but I think I like Seal of Fire better than Lava Dart overall. I was just listening to your podcast about and how you guys broke that down. Earthquake is sounding very interesting to me, especially in a world of Call the Herds. I think that's becoming very interesting to me because and you made the comment about the kind of searing effect of it, is that it does 2 things, that you like both of them, clearing out creatures and also in the opponent's face. So I'm next time I play the burn deck, I'm probably going to put at least 2, maybe 3 earthquakes in that board and give it a shot. I think it's definitely worth looking into.
Yeah, let me tell you, I've been loving it because honestly, if you're playing against a deck like Goblins, like talk about drawing a sideboard card. If you draw Earthquake against Goblins, you can't come, like one of the big reasons why people think Goblins is favored, and they're right about this, is that burn can't come from behind. Once Goblins gets ahead, it's going to stay ahead, right?
Like I was saying about the Ringleader, like the kind of thing. You can't get up the card advantage back.
Exactly. There's no way. I mean, unless you got a lot of Grim Lavamancer activation, you got a lot of Curse Skull activations. And the nature of Ringleader is that Ringleader is going to find you a Mogg Fanatic. It's going to find you a Gempalm Incinerator. It's going to find you a way to deal with that Grim Lavamancer, which is the only way for burn to wash out the card advantage. So pretty big stuff here. And the absence of a creature on turn 1 has already got me not excited about what's to come for the burn player.
Agreed. Yeah, that's not where you want to start. You got 12 great options on turn 1, and this was not the best, but it is still fairly efficient. You didn't waste the mana, where if it was just a shock, then it wouldn't have been wasted against the Lackey, but now this is even more efficient.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And that Lackey did deal 1 damage to itself, so
there you go. Here we go.
We don't hate
every little bit.
But yeah, if we're burn, no creature is not an exciting place to be. There's just creatures are the original card advantage engine, man. Like before Planeswalkers got printed, we just played creatures. We just played Sarah Angel.
Yep. People
were just like, oh my God, this card in the same turn can attack and it can block. That's an engine.
No, yeah, that was insane. that was bonkers back in the day. Yeah, I still play a lot of old school, and it's still bonkers. Let me tell you, it's still a very good card. It had a lot of good text, and then I don't know why it took them so long to keep making good cards. But
it went like Sarah Angel.
It took a long time to get the next good creature.
It was like Sarah Angel, and then like Juzam Jin, and then like 20 years passed, and then Tarmogoyf.
It took a really long time, let's be honest. They started getting afraid of reprinting Sarah Angel, I think in 5th or 6th, and
7th edition. They finally broke the seal.
Right? They're like, okay, it's been 4 years. I guess we can give it back. And at that point, I think it was passed over.
Yeah, I mean, we had more Fling. Yeah, we had more Fling,
Master Cores or something. But yeah,
Master Core. I mean, is Master Core really a creature? It's kind of just like a. It's kind of just like a weird. It's just like a 4 mana win the game or 6 mana win the game.
Yeah, if you untap with it, there's really tough to lose kind of situation. Okay, all right, Curse Scroll. Here we go. Now I believe you would call this. Is this a Gear 2 situation for the burn deck? You kind of playing the control.
You have no choice. There actually is no Gear 1. I talked about this earlier. It's just like you cannot play. It's very unlikely unless you have some sort of like a triple lightning bolt, ball lightning, Pyroblast situation. It's inconceivable that you could win a game that you don't have to remove any of Goblin's creatures, because Goblin Warchief, Goblin Lackey, and to some extent Goblin Piledriver, because sure, you don't have
Big
to kill the
chunks.
Piledriver, but you have to kill the thing that's hanging out next to the Piledriver.
Yep.
Like you really can't afford to be in a position where you don't kill any creatures. And if you're not killing any creatures, you're not living in Gear 1, which for those who are uninitiated, Gear 1's kind of like the combo draw, which is like bolt, 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 you're dead. You really are never doing it. And so the only way it looks when you win is Gear 2. You're taking advantage of the fact that you can maintain control over the board while still getting that chip damage in. Curse Scroll is a great tool to do it, but 3 cards in hand. The Karplusan Forest is the engine that I'm using right now.
Yep. That's the only thing dealing damage. Okay, shock. He still has 2 cards left in hand. Okay, would you say he's untapping, so I guess it doesn't matter. But I was going to say, are we looking to just point things face just to reduce your hand size to get this Cursed Scroll online, or do you really having 3 mana is not enough? Oh, now we got 4. Now we can Cursed Scroll and spell it in theory.
Yeah, I'm not pointing things face. The Cursed Scroll to me represents inevitability, where like as long as I draw, like, because I can draw out either burn spell, creature, or land, and Cursed Scroll means that I basically for 3 mana, it's just like a bad Jam Day Tome, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Siege Gang Commander actually kind of flips things, but boom, these Karplusan Forests doing work. So we are kind of in not a favorite spot because these Goblin tokens honestly represent a huge pain. So you have to kill the Siege Gang because obviously converting the Goblin tokens for damage is going to be too strong. But once you kill the Siege Gang, his buddies are still hanging around. We're going to do a true random.
Oh, Fireblast? Was that a
Fireblast
yes?
was the named card.
Yep. I think you always name Fireblast with Cursed Scroll just to get them afraid of it.
Yeah.
You don't have it in your hand.
You're looking at 2 mountains and you're just like,
Fireblast. They're like, oh shit, they got it. Okay.
No, I'm dead. Just scoop. It's just like scoop. They're at 8. Oh, yeah. Okay. 8. Curse Scroll activate. I'll name Fireblast. You got it. You got it.
Not name Fireblast if he didn't have it, would he? No, he's gotta have it.
Yeah. With the Goblins player, like I said, this Karplusan Forest are going to do more work than any burn spell in the burn player's deck, because we are in face mode. There's 3 Goblin tokens. There's no way I'm pointing burn at Goblins tokens.
No,
and
it's not worth it.
Yeah, but luckily they're both Fireblasts. Oh, they're probably doing 1 through 3.
Yeah, they're not doing even odd, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, unless you would say 1 is even and 2 is odd.
Lanny, are you the kind of person that oh, that's huge. Are you the kind of person that needs to have all the same art of a card? Like you can't like you can't have like a 6th edition and a 5th edition of like, different things. All right, they got to be all the same.
So
I am, because like for Cursed Scroll, exactly.
Basically. That's a very good point. And oh man, I never thought about Cursed Scroll, because my burn deck is just chaotic. Like I don't have good printings for the burn deck, and a lot of people are criticizing me for my PSS showing with my mismatched islands, and the reason is because my Storm deck has 18 islands, and
it's just run out.
I don't have 18 matched islands, and in the PSS, your opponents don't know what deck you're playing, so. Right. I have matched islands for my Grotog deck, but I have to still play mismatch, because if my opponents see the same islands, they're going to be like, oh, he's on Grotog. So to answer your question, I would if I could, but I don't. And I don't even have multiple copies of Masked Disenchant.
The Masked Disenchant, that always gets a lot of talk to the PSS, the guy with the hands. Whoa! And like, listen to BK and Mike talk about it last night, was just got me, or 2 nights ago, got me cracking up. I loved it. It's just
Secret Lair.
Secret Lair, that guy.
That guy. Oh, I guess I'm disenchanted.
I just don't even know.
My disrupting scepter can no longer disrupt. So we're gonna see a Sulfuric Vortex. I'm hyped to see this card. We baited the Naturalize on our Cursed Scroll. We've got the big Sulfuric Vortex. Goblins completely
slam that birds. That's going to finish the game. Here we go.
Goblins completely gassed out, and in the absence of reach, thanks to the multiple copies of Fireblast that we know deterministically are in the burn player's hands, even with everything that we see on the battlefield. This is actually gonna. So I didn't put this game going for burn, but this is kind of a good example of how games can go. If we're in a double Fireblast world, this game is already over. And you know, Goblins just like a little bit flooded. We got 24 mana sources. Maybe we wrote out 2 Ancient Tombs, but we still have 24 mana sources plus 4 birds, which is 28 mana sources. So we're seeing what happens when you just don't draw Ringleader, you don't draw Matron. Now, granted, those are 8 hits, but we just talked about 7% to miss on 16 hits. Who wants to guess the number on missing on 8 hits? You still can.
It's true. So 3 cards. Okay, we're getting an untap here for the. So Eric's essentially at 10 from this vortex, 8 from the seal. So if Nathan isn't dead on this next attack, he should essentially be, that'd be 2 more damage. He's got to have at least 6 damage in his hand. I mean,
So
we know he's got 4 for Pyroblast.
So he's dead to Mogg Fanatic. Obviously, he can choose to.
He's dead to Mogg Fanatic. He's
it's just the upkeep. Because yeah, we're ending this here and now, and like I said, it definitely sounded like with those Curse Scroll activations that we had 2 copies of Pyroblast. But yeah, there's no reason to cast this now unless we're going for it now. And this dice on the Sulfuric Vortex makes it seem like there's a Sulfuric Vortex activation on the stack. So forget another turn cycle.
Okay,
yep.
There it is. Yeah,
yep.
Then we got it.
All right, good stuff.
He said 4, Seal of Fire, pass the turn, you're dead. Unless well, there could be another Naturalize in a turn.
Well, this is the upkeep. Our Goblin tokens are untapped. We're gonna.
Oh, this is his upkeep.
Yeah, we were happy to wake up. We're like, it's another day. We could top deck Goblin Ringleader. We could
0.
We could draw Siege Gang Commander.
I was confused about the upkeep for a sec. Whose upkeep we're in?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you would do something like that in your own upkeep before you draw your next card for Curse Scroll. You know what I mean? Just like if those odds needed to be changed. I've activated many of Curse Scroll in my own upkeep if I'm like especially low, to make sure I don't screw up the Curse Scroll math. But
yeah, Nathan was just waiting to unload.
Okay.
To make sure
that's the time to do it.
Yeah, the Sulfuric Vortex survived a turn cycle, so Nathan obviously couldn't unload on his turn because a Naturalize would have busted up that entire sequence. But once the Sulfuric Vortex's trigger is on the stack, there's really nothing Goblins can do. And you know, Jared, you said you love it. I think we're gonna see a game 5.
I think we are gonna see a game 5.
I mean, unless one of the players is like really tired.
Let's just call it. I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah.
My wife was like, how long are you gonna be? I was like, well, it's gonna be probably at least an hour. And she was like, an hour? I was like, well, it might be a 5 game, it could be a 3 game. I don't really know, you know.
Oh, you didn't tell your wife? She's like, well, you see that it's Goblins versus Burn.
No, I did not get into that.
so you're like, normally Goblins versus Burn, the games actually go really quick, but sometimes Goblins cannot be drawing a lot of gas and Burns can get flooded out, and then all of a sudden a game that should last 15 minutes is going to go for 30, and then we're talking about it could be 5 of these. So
she's just like, okay, go play your little wizard game, you know. It's just like, see you later. All right.
Do you tell your wife that you're a micro celebrity?
No, she knows.
Like, well, you freaking run LobsterCon, right?
Right.
Well,
so,
yeah,
like,
she delivers
the cookies.
Yeah, she gets it. Yeah, she gets it. Because like I know that every time I see her, I'm just like, yo, that Jared guy.
Yeah.
We love him.
Like, a lot of people come up to her and be like, "Oh, your husband or whatever." We see him all the time, hear him on his podcast, and she's just like, doesn't really. She's like, "Okay, cool. Like, I'm glad you guys are having a good time." You know,
she's just like, "Oh my god, there's more of them."
There's so many more of them.
She's just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it's 150 of you in the same room next year." Oh my god, I can't believe there's more.
At my wedding, I had an entire table of my Magic friends, and so that was just kind of like when worlds are really colliding in a wedding. And it's just like, oh yeah, like this is these are my friends from Boston, from college. These are hey, they're my Magic friends. Here they are. They were.
Did she call them your little friends?
No, not little friends. Just my Magic friends. They're all from the Boston area, but it's like I have my friends that.
Well, do you do cube because you got the pre-modern cube? Do you do cube night? Do you have 8 people over and you're just like?
We actually so just this past Saturday we went over to my buddy Scott's house and we drafted the Lord of the Rings set. He made like a cube out of it. And so we drafted that. And that's
a lot of people did that. They really loved. Oh, mulligan for goblins.
That could be huge, especially on the play.
Keep 7 for burn.
Yeah, it's a fun set. It's so many cards, so many words on those damn cards.
Yeah,
but like it's just we're a couple of my like kind of Magic friends in the Boston area are like super Lord of the Rings nerds, and so we were like, my one buddy James, he's got a comment for every card. Like he knows what all like the deep lore is and everything. So. Yeah. It's entertaining to listen to him read the cards and like have reflections on it.
Yeah, what's this like? Oh man, am I gonna say a card that's not from Lord of the Rings set? Bonnie Paul? Was that from?
I don't know.
Maybe that was from a standard set. Okay, hold on.
Bonnie
there was like
Paul.
A character. Okay, here's one. Lord of the Rings fans are gonna blow up at me, but it's like this Tom Bombadil guy.
Yeah,
wasn't in the movies. Don't know who he is.
I gotta tell you, I read the Lord of the Rings books back when I was in high school, like 16, 17, 18 years old. And
somebody called me out. I was just like, no, Bonnie Paul's an outlaw. So I knew it. I was like, it could have been Lord of the Rings, though.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, those books are actually kind of rough to read. Like he's so descriptive, Tolkien's so descriptive, which makes him a great world builder.
Okay, apparently Brian Colwell, B Cowell 23. I don't know who that is in chat, but let me know. Kit Cowell 23 says Bonnie is from Onslaught Torment Judgment. So I do not remember Bonnie being printed in the OTJ block. Do you?
Yeah, I don't remember many legends around there unless they were braids.
Yeah, braids and Kamal.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Mayo, if you're watching, I need you to do filler while I dig around here.
That's fine. We're just finishing the mulligans. I think we're about to get Eric to start. Yep. Just land go. Not even one drop. You got those 4 birds in there, and you can't hit the 1 drops.
These are going to Nick Mayo, but you can read all about Kamal, Chainer, and Jessica.
Nice.
Sending them to Nick Mayo.
The Turtle Man, Jared Saitakowski, he sent me a bunch of like the Wrath Cycle books. I just could not get around to reading. I just never got around to reading them, honestly. They're pretty intense.
I read them. I read all the is it because Wrath Cycle is just like super dark?
I think so. It definitely starts off with like, or maybe it was like the Ursa's book, the Brothers War. I think it was that even older. There's some pretty crazy lore in there. That's for sure.
I actually read those books when I was playing Magic as a kid. Like nice. I was like I was just like, oh, maybe there's going to be spoilers for the cards that are coming, because the books would come out like a couple weeks before the set came out. So you would just be like, oh, Karoma is in the set.
Like, sometimes they even come with a card in them, right? Didn't like Mana Crypt or something like come?
I thought it was like an arena. The arena Mana Crypts came with I thought they came with a magazine, but
that's one for the chat. Where did Mana Crypts come from? And then
Arena
there's Sewers of
no. It's called Arena Mana Crypt because Arena was a local game store.
Right. Okay, that was it. That's true.
All right, cycling Gempalm Incinerator.
Just to draw a card. Just to literally cycle.
Oh, book promo. B Cowell 23 has got it. Do you think B Cowell was born in 23, so he's 1 year old?
Yeah,
already knows about
these cards are way older than you, dude.
What are you doing, bro? All right, we drew a card. We still can't use all our mana. This is after 4 very very sort of games where we saw like kind of a lot of like action back and forth value.
Agreed.
Are these going face?
Ooh, what's your repeat?
Eric picked up the red die and was just like, "You're not killing the Piledriver." And Nathan was like, "No, I'm killing you, my friend." It's just like you.
I don't like that. Unless he has a grip of cards that I don't. Oh, he has 5 cards. Okay, that's quite a few.
We were talking about how Gear One never happens for burn, or basically never happens. But this is what happens: turn 1 pass, turn 2 cycle Gempalm, turn 3 Goblin Piledriver. At that point, burn is just like, eh.
Oh, now
and then he uses the Seal Fire. No, just use the shock. Oh, ball lightning. Oh, Sulfuric Vortex. Interesting.
I didn't realize that Nathan still had so many cards in his hand, but this is definitely.
They haven't been doing anything. But Shock Face, I hate Shock Face. I'm gonna be honest. Like, you're gonna have time. You're gonna have the 1 mana left over, unless your hand's like all ball or all curse scroll, like a bunch of stuff that's like high on the curve. You're gonna have 1 mana left over to cast that shock.
Yeah, it's more worth it to Bolt Face than Shock Face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because shock deals creatures better.
Oh, Jared. That was almost the JD Ringleader right there.
That was a good one.
The classic JDR, not quite one short, but we got honestly, the Mogg Fanatic is the one that I'm most excited about, but not, of course. I mean, we've got no haste in there. We have no second Ringleader. We have no Warchief conceivably in the mix, and we have no Piledriver to threaten. But again, I'd rather a Seal of Fire on the battlefield than a Shock in the hand, or like a Shock in the graveyard, actually. But this.
Yep. See, Nathan knows how to do it. That thing never comes in untapped. It just comes in attacking.
Oh,
this game's over. Oh, there we go. Pyrokinesis. There we go. I needed that. Okay, we still have a game, folks. If that connected, this was definitely done.
Counterpoint, Pyrokinesis. This game would have been lost. I don't even care about that Siege Gang. I don't have 5 mana. I don't have Siege Gang time. The only time I got for is hopefully Goblin Warchief. Oh, we did get the trigger.
Yeah, they got it.
I mean, we're still kind of dead because unless we can present lethal in 2 turns with this sequence. Oh, I've got plenty of Siege Gang. Okay. Is this 2-turn lethal? I don't know. The confidence from the burn player is not. I mean, I don't know this.
You don't think he has 8 damage in that hand?
The body language is showing me 8 damage, but I would need another mountain or a Pyroblast to make it 8. Otherwise, I'd be killing the Siege Gang. It's like cards in hand. Weird question. Doesn't matter how many cards you have in your hand.
10 effectively at 8. I mean, this is the turn. This is it.
Yep.
For both players. This is the critical
tension
turn.
With a knife. So Nathan has slow rolled us on 2 occasions.
That's true.
So, because if you play against Mike, he just shows you his cards. He's just like,
okay. Yeah. Effectively at 6.
6 effective. 3 effective.
3.
Oh man, this
his
is
last card.
This is somebody who's going to the spring Fling finals.
Yes, there it is.
Okay. So yeah, burn against Stasis in the spring Fling finals. Naturalize against Stasis. Naturalize against I don't know what's in Parkus. Of course, Gabe Farkas on Stasis is awaiting Nathan in the finals. We're gonna pass the turn. There's no way for us to get. There's no amount of Birds of Paradise that can sacrifice 5 goblins here. Just let him take 2. He's like, "Okay, I'm dead." Oh, and the last card was the Jackal Pup. Still had all these. Jared, I stand here a vindicated man. We boarded in. That's 0 cards.
Yeah.
Goblins versus Burn, of course. Anecdotal evidence, but and maybe the Pyrokinesis connected that game. But yeah, mulligan from Goblins. Unfortunate spot to be. I'm assuming that Mike, just tell me when you're going to listen into the players, and we're going to get I think now is the time. Yeah.
Okay, we'll unmute them.
Get this crap out of my way.
Unmute. Okay, I got Eric back online.
Yeah, I hear Eric. Right. Nathan, are you
with
us?
These guys.
Oh, he said it. Oh, Korean Gamer with the channel point prediction on Team Spike Colony. Great match. Great stuff. Just this is Premodern. This is like one of the great Premodern matchups.
This was fun. This was a fun.
I'm sorry about the mulligan. I'm sorry about the mulligan and the no turn 1 or turn 2 play. I guess that kind of puts a little damper on the epic game 5. But for what it's worth, Burn took a mulligan and completely got dominated in the mulligan game. So you give them an
every time.
It was tight. Yeah.
Hey, Eric, how much damage did those Birds of Paradise attack for?
Jared, no. You can say that if he wins. You can't say that if he loses.
They did absorb 3 damage off of
lightning bolt. I'll accept that. Okay,
we actually lost our minds at that.
They healing salve. They did healing salve. Okay.
Jared, if I could change one of my mana sources into a healing salve in the burn matchup, I would happily do it. Eric, I'm on your side here. Team Forest forever. Like 4 Siege Gang, 4 Ringleader, casting them all. Sure.
Oh yeah.
Sure they die. Sure, sometimes you don't have enough red mana, but you do have red mana because then you tap your green mana to put a red mana source into the play. Absolutely amazing. Great stuff, Nathan. You literally missed 1 total point of damage in 5 games. So
Yes.
good work.
Is that my early Grim Lavamancer that I didn't activate because I'm an idiot?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I wasn't going to let you get away from that, but I appreciate you being forthcoming with that information. But no, great work. I just want to know who thought who thought they were going to win? Well, first of all, did anybody think they were going to lose?
No, I did not think I was going to win this.
Okay, Eric.
I felt all right. I mean, I feel like overwhelmingly confident, but I felt all right.
If I was going to assign a number between 0 to 100, what are we thinking? All right. I mean, all right's 51, 57, 69. It's okay. Did you see the poll?
I don't know.
I pulled
50 and 55.
I put a poll up. I literally put a poll up on Facebook today, and I was just like, "Who thinks Goblins is favored? Who thinks Burn is favored?" And it's nearly an even split with a slight leaning in the Goblins' direction. And Mike Hoyp hits me up. He's like, "Who wants to commentate Goblins versus Burn?" And I was like, "I would love to see this." So high five, Nathan. We played 5 games. You win three of them. What's 3 over 5? I don't know. Is it 60? 60 is a pretty big number. It's 10 more than 50.
That's
yeah.
Yeah, the tension's very high on this side. I was like, okay, well, at any point, it just the number's locked in. Like,
yeah,
we'll see what's going to happen. But,
I think it's really interesting because there's so many spots where just like Goblins literally can't lose this, but up until that point, Goblins is like, I don't know, like. When tell us a little bit about Curse Scroll naming Pyroblast, and it seemed like it was really nice for you to do the whole song and dance of like, right. Dice, I'm gonna like decide, and at some point the body language said it all. Just like, yeah, he hit twice. I don't think that was a 50 into 50 parlay.
No, Eric knew that from the get-go too. I just try to do some showmanship.
Yeah.
I mean, it's technically the correct way to do it, but like at the same time, we had a feeling once it hit the second time that
we actually made an observation. Jared asked me how I felt about different arts, and he was like, "I don't do different arts specifically for Curse Scroll, but let me tell you what, I would do 4 different Pyroblast arts for my Curse Scroll if I could, because I want to show you. I want to show you that I got Pyroblast.
If I get 4 mountains, you're done.
Yeah."
It's a good. Is there even another art for Pyroblast, or is it just it was reprinted in like a whiteboard?
I think it has a so it has a online print that is online only. It was printed in Vintage Masters on Magic Online, and that art was reprised in Dominaria Remastered. So connoisseurs of mismatched art can play 1 foil Friday Night Magic. They can play 1 from Visions. They can play 1 Dominaria Remastered Modern Bordered. They can play 1 Dominaria Remastered Retro Border. And if you want to play 5 Pyroblast because you're kind of an asshole and you cheat at Magic, you can play your 5th Pyroblast can be Jace versus Chandra dual decks.
There we go. Sure. We can get them all.
Yeah,
get them all. Yeah, good matches though, guys. Really enjoyed doing it and had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, Eric, shout out. Like, how many Goblins decks are in the top 8 of this Spring Fling? How many Goblins decks were in the top 8 of the last Spring Fling? I mean, you're single-handedly putting Birds of Paradise Goblin on the map. Talk to me. Is this the truth? Are we like me and Jared? We play our Goblins decks. We play Basic Mountain. We play. Yeah. I love Ancient Tomb, but are we the crazy ones or is are you just kind of memeing? Are you just kind of like, Goblins is so good, I can just play 4 Birds of Paradise?
People were giving me some criticisms the first Spring Fling, and I just learned my mistakes, so I added 1 more Birds of Paradise to my deck.
Ancient Tombs last in the Fall Brawl or whatever.
The first Spring Fling had 4 full Ancient Tombs, which so I had to mess with the mana base to make more birds I will tell you, I I've been very pleased to have a lot of one. It helps with mulligan decisions. You do get to avoid a lot of awkward hands where they're just like they fold if they destroy your turn 1 Lackey, which just a lot of decks may handle that, especially if you're on the draw or something. There's some of these mediocre hands where you're just like, okay, I got a couple lands, a Lackey, and then like 3s and 4s and 5s or whatever in your hand.
You kept every 7 until the last game, huh?
Yeah, yep. So I feel like I can mulligan less. There's green cards, they dodge some of that red hate. There sometimes, you don't have the swords, but you have the Hydroblast or whatever, and so you get a land, sneak a bird through that.
I see the vision. I see the vision. So your opponent, your dastardly opponent, they boarded in 3 Hydroblasts, and they're like, 3 blue elemental blasts. I have 6 blasts. They go Island Pass, and then you, genius over here, Wooded Foothills.
That's not exactly the plan A, the number one reason.
For it, but Birds of Paradise, and you're just laughing all the way to the bank, and then they're just like, oh well, you know what? I still got Phyrexian Dreadnought, Stifle, and then you're just like, boom, Naturalize. I got 3 mana. I can pay for days. Love it. Right. Love it. Love everything that I'm hearing.
Yeah. As a tech.
Yeah, I've had some games where I've embarrassed Cataclysm before because of it. Just like, okay, I'll keep my bird in my Ancient Tomb and I'll untap and I'll Ringleader, stuff like that. That's just like that's pretty hot.
Yeah. Inject it straight into my veins.
Turn 2 Warchief all day leads into all kinds of amazing dreams. I think in my quarterfinal match, I had a turn 2 Siege Gang Commander. And there's certain decks where it's like, yeah, they had the blocker or whatever, and that's all it would have taken to just stop your Lackey.
Karplusan Forest, Birds, Ancient Tomb,
Mountain. 5 mana.
Yeah. We're talking a little bit. That does sound like turn 2.
No, that's turn 3. How do you do a turn 2?
Turn 3. No, turn 3. If I said turn 2, I
mean, there's to be in Spirit Guide. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. No, turn 2. Yeah.
Okay, well, now that we've clarified that you're a dirty liar and nothing that comes out of your mouth.
Yes, of course. Yes, disregard everything now.
Nathan, tell me about your basic forest plan. I got to be honest. Lava Dart, some might say, is a card that you want to have in your deck against goblins. For those at home, we don't get to see the Swiss matches of Spring Fling. Tell us about 5 green sources, 4 Naturalize, and 1 not Tranquil Domain, Tranquility in the sideboard.
Yeah, so the green has been very disruptive to everyone that knows Sligh and thinking that you're on Bauble Sligh, just mono red. And then green comes out of nowhere from the sideboard, and it rapes on game 2. And people just aren't aware of it. The Tranquility is a new ad that I just put in since LobsterCon last year. The single removal for Naturalize is great, but when you can get a board wipe off of someone that's running multiple chills against me and don't have a counterspell backup, or they used a counterspell backup on something else, it's just devastating. And it's been great. Now, the 1 green source in the deck, it is what it is. If somebody's running Rashad and Port, taps me down, or somehow gets rid of it with a land destruction spell, yeah, I'm in trouble. But they'd have to know the deck, and I think that would have to wait till game 3 if they were to target.
They're not getting a game 3, right? I mean,
most times not. Most times not. But my deck is built what I thought the meta was going to be: heavy blue. Obviously, anybody that looks at the sideboard can tell that I am not well prepared for goblins, elves, stuff like that. It's a lot of going to be spot removal and then right to your face. So, yes, there is some things that need to get changed, I think, as I've played more. I do have some foil version lava darts, so I might put those in. But I might even tinker with another red spell that I saw the guys running who were running Tireless Tribe. That one where you can bring it back and do 1 damage to the entire board. That's a legit spell. I might have to play with that one some more.
What's this one? Yeah, Volcanic Spray. Yeah.
that one. Now, I think it's
The flashback.
it's a corner case scenario there. You know, it's one of those sideboard cards where it's probably not going to see a lot of play. But then again, some of my sideboard cards only see certain play, so they're all corner case.
Yes.
I'm happy with
Some
the way
might say that sideboard cards are all about corner cases. In fact, it's turning all your corners into beautiful round edges so that you can all your matchups can just be a circle. Perhaps. We were talking a little about Earthquake. I guess I have to ask, you're aware of the card Tranquil Domain, yes?
Yes.
So
It's not foiled, though. It doesn't belong in my deck.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
There's a reason.
There we got there. Excellent stuff. Of course, I'm very excited to feel vindicated in the Goblins versus Burn data. Extremely well fought. I mean, I'm just assuming that you didn't board in any cards. Eric, did you board out Ancient Tombs for Pyros, or did you just rock it?
I boarded out the 2 Ancient Tombs, which having the birds helps with that.
Agree.
And I boarded out the Sharpshooter because it's very rarely does anything but a point of damage if you untap with it in this matchup.
Yeah.
So it's just too clunky. And we brought in the Gempalm for that one.
Okay.
Did think about putting in the Tinkerer just because like it blocks okay.
Yeah.
It's a 2-drop, you know.
I mean, if a Mogg Fanatic
yeah.
is giving you a hard time, a 1/2 is just as good as another.
But yeah, just, you know, one real quick thing on the birds, just being like, you know, really helping with keeps and mulligans, being able to exploit the mana advantage, plays really well with Wasteland. And then also, I've just been finding that a lot of, you know, spoiler, people are aware of Fanatic, your Lackey, the stock in that card just plummets post-board. And Bird tends to be pretty damn steady and pretty decent post-board. So like the card, there's no, you know, there's some structural things that you can't really do as a Goblins deck. You're not going to be able to play around Pyroclasm very much, but there's, you know, so there, you don't, you know, you play with no fear and you
hear me out.
Strengths.
Turn 1, Karplusan Forest, Birds of Paradise. Turn 2, Ancient Tomb. Turn 3, Mountain. Turn 4, Rorik's Blade Wing. Let's go. nice pyroclasms you got there. We were also saying that we were saying like, in a lot of spots we were just like, well, Eric's pretty dead here, but what if he has his own Pyroblast?
Yeah, there was a I think very early on in the Premodern Magic website that Martin runs. There was an example like Goblins list that had Click Slither as at the top end.
Yeah.
As
I've seen that.
way to do that.
Yeah.
It's like as opposed to going wide, it goes narrow and just smashes high.
It's like narrow wide, right? Because if they Pyroclasm you before your Click Slither, then well. It's also hard to cast Click Slither in your Ancient Tomb.
Yeah, no, it's not the one. It is nice that it gains trample though, so it can smash through.
I feel like if we had just a little bit more, there could be some potential for like some aggressive builds like that, like you just like rites of initiation them out or whatever. The one where you discard however many cards and give your team like, yep, cool, +3 to my 4 guys and you're dead or whatever.
Yeah, I had in the words of Landio, it's like, what's better than one Psychotalk? It's like, what about all of your guys?
They're all Psychotalks.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, well fought, good match. That one's always
and congrats,
tense.
Back to back with Birds of Paradise Goblins. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe some people should be, I got people in my DMs. They're just like, Lanny, what do you think about Goblins? I'm like, look, man, you got to talk to Eric Hoffman. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
I did take this one. I was like, you know what? Let's see. I was a little hopeful I would see a little bit of it. I did hear, like, I think Hoyp mentioned somewhere that he played against one in LobsterCon. So, but I would challenge many players that love sleeving up these little red men to give it a try. I feel like I've had my word in it. I'm looking forward to trying some other stuff, but I'm happy to get a couple top 8s in here for this event. Big appreciation for Hoyt for setting this up and you guys for hopping in for the commentary. Good match. Good luck in the finals. Hope you crush it.
Yeah, Nathan, stasis. What are we thinking? Just give it to me. Easy, right? Easy. Just say easy.
No. So I am a Stasis player. I have played Stasis quite a few times.
Ooh,
so I'm
know
very familiar
thine
with it.
enemy.
But it's going to be a tough battle. It's going to be one of those where, I'm not going to give away my game plan, but, I'll be happy to say I'm going to hold a lot of cards back and then just hit face hard and see if they have the counter spells to outrun it.
All right.
Oh, by the way, Nathan definitely plot armored me pretty well earlier. We were like shuffling up for game 4, and he's like, "Oh, what do you think about that finals against Stasis?" And I was like, "This isn't the finals, man. We're in the semifinals." And so I was like, "But yeah." By the way, Sylvan Library I found to be very effective as far as like in my one experience in this tournament. I did beat a Stasis deck with Sylvan, just being able to hit all your land drops and just mostly ignore the life, like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's draw 4 cards.
Yeah, it was really. I was very impressed by that one.
Nice.
Draw 4 cards unless they already have the black vice down. That's basically it.
Yeah. I mean, you just draw your Naturalize then.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be exciting stuff. Once again, great match. All 5 games, maximum value for us, maximum value for the viewers, maximum value for people who are out there saying Burn wins 60% of the time. Super hyped to see it, and good luck in the finals, Nathan. It was a work of art. Your deck's a work of art. Awesome
Thank you very
stuff.
much.
Oh yeah,
Good job, guys.
good games.
Games.
Who wants to say the final words? Mike, are you going to say final words?
Yeah, Mike should say the final words.
Yeah, I could jump back in for a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning into the stream. Yeah, it was nice that we got that full set, as Lanny had said, and it was really just a good match, a good demonstration of the back and forth that can happen with the Goblins and the Burn matchup. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Lanny and Jared, for stepping in the booth. It was really fun.
Anytime. Yeah,
it was nice, good flow between you two, and it was nice. It felt a lot more relaxing that I could just sit back and just kind of plink away. So
I'm probably gonna go back and watch the stream just to see what you did with the card image thing. I'm sure you're right on top of it.
Yeah, I would say I'm much quicker the ability to like bring up the card when it actually happens, as compared to like me trying to finish a thought when I'm speaking when someone's playing a card, and then me trying to remember what set the card is from or whatever, and then like bringing it up on my card viewer. So yeah,
I mean, I love it. We love a guy who is willing to step out of the spotlight and make sure that the show happens. I love you, Hoip. I just love you.
Okay.
All right, much love for everyone, all the viewers, the players, and the commentators. Thanks everyone part of this community. But until next time, take care.